So I want to talk about managing processes in Ubuntu Server, but before we do, we need to talk about background jobs. So we'll spend this video talking about background jobs, and we'll spend the next video talking about process management. So I'm going to start by opening up an application. So I'm going to open up our Nano application. I'm not going to open a file. I just want the application up and running. Now, to move this to a background job, I can hit Control Z. And when I do that, you'll see down here, it says that this is stopped. Job number one stopped is Nano. Now, stopped kind of indicates that, we've killed the process. We really haven't. It's actually still active. In fact, I'll introduce a command here, PS, which will display our processes. And we'll see that we still have a job number process ID 12402, which is Nano. So let me open up Vim. This will be another one that we can do, and Control Z and move that to the background. And now if I type jobs, it'll give me all of my jobs. And these are jobs just for me. These aren't for everybody, right? These are just my jobs. So I can access one of these jobs by using the command FG. So I can tell it to bring to the foreground, and then I want to bring to the foreground job number 2. And so that brings me to my Vim job. If I did, let me do this and jobs again. And if I did FG1, that's going to bring job number 1 to the foreground, which is my Nano. Okay, I'm going to Control X to exit out, and that's actually going to close my Nano. So now if I do jobs, you're going to see that we just have Vim. The Nano job is now done. It's not just stopped, it's done. We've closed it out. Now, if I want to open something up directly into the background, I can do an ampersand after it. So let me do Nano, and this time I'm going to tell it to open a file. We're going to have it open up /etc/ let's do the group file. And whoops, I just did that wrong. Let me try this again. I wanted to open that up in the background. So I'm going to nano /etc/ group, and then I'm going to put a little ampersand at the end. And that's going to open up in the background. And so now you'll see up here, it says we have job number 3, which is process ID 12409. So if I do jobs, that will show me all of my jobs, including my Vim and my Nano etc group. So if I do an FG3, that'll bring me to my Nano of the etc group. And then again, Control Z if I want to move it into the background. Okay, so that, using jobs to display job, using Control Z to put a job in the background, using the ampersand to open up a job in the background, all of those things are really cool. But that's all working just with multiple jobs, foreground and background jobs in this particular session. What if I wanted another session? Well, for that, I can do that too. I can do a Control Alt F2, and that's going to take me to my TTY2. I'm going to go ahead and log in as David and put in my password. And let me do a clear screen, and I'll do an ls-la to show things in my home directory. Then I'm going to do a Control Alt 3, and that's going to take me to, and you'll see up here, TTY3. Control Alt F1 takes me back to my TTY1. So I can actually do this all the way through. Control Alt F6 takes me to TTY6. And so that gives me 6 different sessions that I can work with here, just by hitting Control Alt and then jumping to the one that I want. Okay, so between those two things, jumping back and forth using the Control Alt F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, F6, and then using foreground and background jobs, now I can do multiple things at the same time, which turns out to be really, really helpful when you're working on a system, either just working on it as a user or as an administrator. So that will let us jump back and forth between multiple applications, have multiple processes going, and it sets the stage for our next video, which is going to be on managing some of those processes.